Hello everyone, welcome to part 4. I thought in this series, in this section, we would update one or two of these little pieces. Now, I realise that this piece here with the window, it won't need a skirting board on both sides, as the outside of the window will obviously be facing the outside of the building, so there would be no skirting board there. So we can just select that with the L key, press X and delete those faces, as they won't be needed as they'll be facing the outside of the building. Next, I think we could take the window frame and bevel the edge slightly on both sides. So with edge selected, edge mode selected, just ring click, loop click, alt click should I say, that edge and that edge, and then just press Ctrl B and just bevel it slightly, like so. And this should not affect the UVs. As you can see, it will add those bevels just there and there on each side without distorting the UVs. There we go. Very slight distortion, but nothing that will make a major difference. You can see it's just a slightly different colour blue. Excuse me. But that won't be a problem once you take it into Substance Painter to paint it. Okay. The next thing I thought we could do is update the door. It is very plain. So I wanted to just do that and create a better door. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a tickly throat today, but we shall isolate this and we shall clear the rotation. And now, as you can see, it's in global rotation, so we shall change it to local. Scroll here, and in the rotation section just change it back to 0. And that will put it back in our frame where we want it, like so. So go back into local view. Now I'm in perspective view for this, that's absolutely fine. If you want, you can be in orthographic. It doesn't make much difference with what we are going to do. And as you can see, we have a very plain door. So I'm going to select that face, press Ctrl R and put a loop cut in just there. I'm then going to press Ctrl R again along the side, add 2 more loop cuts, move, and then press GG and slide them up. Once clear the selection with right click to leave them in the centre, and then press GG so that we don't mess up the UVs. There looks good. Yes, that looks good to me. And as you can see, if we press A, there are our UVs for the door. So we are going to adjust it slightly. Go back out of local view. No, stay in local view for a minute while I do the adjustments. So we're going to go into face select mode, select each face holding the shift key for the front, turn it round, select each face holding the shift key for the back. Okay, we're going to press I for inset, and then we're going to press I again, which will set it for individual faces. I'm going to move them in slightly to around there. Left click, press I again, move them in slightly, and then with no clicking just hold the Control key and then move them inwards, just a touch. Hold the control. Or did they come out? No, they come out, so we can just hold the arrow key, just pull them in slightly. No, that won't work because the backside will go out. Right, Control Z, scale them on the Y, just a touch. as such. There we go. Maybe a bit more. Let's go into orthographic view, into side view, press Z, and we can see a little better. So scale on the Y, just to around there. Okay. Press inset again. Bring them in slightly. Go back into side view. Scale on the Y, and this time bring them out just so they're around there. So they just fit just slightly outside the door. Okay. Go back into that mode, and as you can see already, we have improved our door, and the UVs are as such. Let's check the stretching. Now, as you can see, it has caused a little problem around here and around this. More so with this than we'd like. So let's fix this. We will go back. We shall select our window wall, our window frame, our window, our door frame, and finally shift select the door. Press tab to go into edit mode. Isolate the door, and we're going to put loop cuts in this. So from the front, spin it round slightly so you're facing the back slightly. Click an edge, and then Alt Shift click until you go all the way around. Okay, then shift click that edge, shift click that edge, okay, and then Control E, mark a seam. Press A, U, unwrap, and we should end up with a lot better of an unwrap. We shall scale that down, bring it up here, and as you can see it still looks good in our space, but now it's a little small for definition. When we paint this door, it may not have quite the texture space we want. We want a bit more texture space for this door, so we're going to adjust the other pieces so that they are absolutely fine. Okay, so we'll go back into our view here, and this time we shall select the door wall, shift select the window frame, shift select the window, shift select the door frame, and shift select the door last. Okay, press tab, and we can see we've got everything. We know our skirting boards are down here, so I think we could adjust the UVs for the door frame and maybe the window frame slightly. So press tab, shift select the window frame, press tab, and there is our window frame pieces. As you can see, they look fine. So press A twice to make sure they are all selected, and we will scale them down till we get something a little bit more in touch with the scale of what our window would be. Now that looks good, so we will adjust them and move them around. I shall press L on that one, Shift L and Shift L, rotate them 90 degrees negatively, grab them and then place them around there. Now these pieces we can also move, so press L on that, rotate it 90 degrees and bring it just there. Same with this piece, press L, rotate it 90 degrees and then move it just there. Right, it's closer to the edge. It gives us a little bit more space. Press L, grab it along the X, and then that gives us that space. And now we can adjust the door frame. Okay, go back to our 3D window, press Tab, Shift select the door frame, press Tab again, move back to our UV window, and as you can see, press A, scale them down slightly to around there. Looks good. You can move them into position just about there. Okay, so we're getting a bit more space now, so we just need to move the window now into this area, and then we can adjust the door scale. So as before, back to the 3D view, tab, let's go into object mode, shift select the window frame, press tab, not the window frame, sorry, the window, shift select the window, press tab, and go back to our 3D view. Now the window doesn't need to have too much, so we can rotate it 90 degrees as well, bring that down. There, looks good. So now we have a little bit more space up here that we can use to fill for our door. So now we can go back to our 3D view, tab to go into object mode, shift select the door, press tab, back to the 3D window and scale it up. Grab it and place it around about there. See if we can get both panels in. I don't think we can. We're better after using it as just one, so we'll scale this up so we get a nice size. That looks good. And we shall select this shell by pressing L when we hover over it, and it's not doing it, so it's not separated separately, so we shall have a look at this a second. Set B, border select all them, grab them, and you can see there's still a vertex attached there. So if we press E, that should have unwrapped it. Nope. Right, Control Z to go back. Let's just select the back panel of our door and separate it out. Can be an issue at times, so if we press L, there's our back panel. Press U, unwrap. Well, let's move that there. Out of the way a second. And press L for the front section. Press U, unwrap. Press A twice. A again. In the UV window. Scale them down. Let's bring them into our size. Okay, let's scale this up slightly, down slightly. Okay, that looks better. Select this shell by pressing L, rotate it 90 degrees negatively, and then we need to just match it up and put it over the top of our other one. And to do that, we shall enable vertex snapping, so press G and then just move over the vertices until you get to the one that is correct, and that is wrong, the scale is wrong. So let's put it there and let's scale it down slightly, and we shall scale it from this vertex. So if we select in vertex mode, select that vertex, Shift S, cursor to selected, no, Control Z, Shift S, cursor to selected. There. Okay. Press L. I know what's happened. I bet that has absolutely joined them vertices together, which is not what we wanted. And that is all because of this. So turn that off, Control Z. Right, now we should be able to move it. So if I press L, G, and then snap that, it is now not, or has it? Why is that automatically? That should not be doing that. Let me just think about this for a second. Let's select that shell, G, and that vertice is connecting up, and I don't want it to. Let's grab it along the X slightly so it's just out of the way, so it's not quite on that vertice. And let's select that vertice, which is not, oh, we're on face mode, that's why. Okay, back into vertice mode. Make sure that vertex is selected, Shift S, cursor to selected, select scale by 2D cursor, and then we can select that object, and then if we scale it, we can see until we get it matched up. So if we scale, and that's good. Okay. So now we just need to move it across until it snaps. So if we grab along the X until we get to there. Okay. And then we have our unwrap. Now we can check everything by adding a texture. So we're going to add a new texture. We will do this at 2048 by 2048, and we shall make this a UV grid. Click OK. Go into texture mode. Texture solid. Is it? I think. Tab. Let's see if we've got any of our texture on our objects. Not yet, because we're in cycles. Okay, I'll switch it to blender render for a moment. Doesn't matter which we are in. So let's select our UV grid, and it pops up. Select our UV grid, and that pops up. Go into edit mode on each of these. Press A to make sure you selected them. UV grid. Make sure everything's selected. UV grid. And now you can see that everything is being textured. And as you can see, the walls and the door have more definition than the other objects, which is fine because they are less important than that what we are going to see there. So we'll keep adding this to our walls to make sure that things are going to be fine. Okay. Keep selecting everything. And there we go. Now, our floor is going to be separately textured, so we don't have to worry about that. And as you can see, if I focus in on this corner wall here, the texture repeats perfectly fine. It will be absolutely great when we finish texturing this. Okay, one more wall we will need is a plain wall for the outside of the window. As these are an interior door, these aren't going to be the door we will put on the front, on the main door, the main entrance. So to create an extra wall, let's first shift select them, make sure we are in incremental snapping, left click the X arrow, hold control and pull it over slightly. Select that one, shift D, X, control and move it there. Now let's move these back in one. Okay, select that object, go into edit mode, press L over that skirting board, press X, delete faces. Okay, so now we can make our interior textures and exterior texture sets. We can make different textures using this same map just by changing the material textures, and use a different material on each one. So you can have a set for indoor textures and a set of outdoor textures. So that was a little short one that I wanted to just add, just to improve the look of the door and set it up so it looks a little bit nicer. The next one, we shall make a handle for this door, which should sit just on here roughly. We'll just do a simple handle and then we'll be ready to go into texturing and see how they look in Engine. Thank you for watching and hope you tune in for the next one. Goodbye.